Previously on the Beam Chronicles.
When I was 5, I had a nightmare.
Who are we going to kill, Jaxon?
Jaxon, come on, buddy. It's Charlie.
Charlie?
He didn't want anyone to die.
Precisely.
Did you hear his voice?
It was startling.
I think I need to kill Rick Fisher. I won't kill anyone else. I just want Fisher.
If you are incapable of killing Fisher, then you're not permitted to kill anyone else anyway.
Stop. You need to stop. There's nothing you can do. Nothing. And it's my fault, and I'm not okay. I'm not fine. Go help yourself for a while. I need to be alone.
Next thing, go tell Sydney.
Sydney? Why?
Because you were a dick to him and you need to apologize.
And I promise I'll come back exactly the same.
You should really stop making promises you can't keep, JT.
I love you, Charlie.
I love you too.
These are the Beam Chronicles, with your host, MJ Dooney. Book 3, Cataclysm. Chapter 8, Jaxon Teaque.
I found Sydney essentially where I'd left him, sitting on the floor of HQ's lobby. His back was resting against a marble column, legs flexed at the knees, head tucked into the nooks of his elbows as he wrapped his arms around his head. I could tell by the way his back was moving that he was sobbing, and I felt terrible. Killing Fisher wasn't the last thing on my mind, but it wasn't the first anymore either. As I hovered up to him, he caught a glimpse of my shadow, then quickly snapped his head up. The whites of Sydney's eyes were naturally pink, so it took an extra level of bloodshot for it to be noticeable as it was when he looked at me. He started bustling to get to his feet, but I lifted up my hand, gestured him back to the floor, then found a seat beside him, folding up my legs and staring straight ahead. I waited a moment for things to settle, him to stop sniffling. He didn't, but I had to get a move on anyway. Big things on the horizon. Sorry, bud.
It is all right.
It's not. I was a cock, and you were just trying to help. You didn't deserve that. I'm sorry.
The moment was emotionally charged, brother. I do not hold it against you that your temper boiled over in the wrong place.
I started thumbing the scar running down my forearm. You're way too nice to me, Sydney.
I know I am.
One day it's gonna get you killed.
Very likely, but you are my best friend, Jaxon. I cannot help it.
I couldn't think of a pithy enough retort, so I just slapped him on the back and went with, "Yeah, me too." He grinned, then rubbed his finger under his nose.
Where is Charlie?
On the roof still, I think.
Why?
She's, a little enraged right now. That's kind of the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, Sid. I think I'm going to go kill Rick Fisher. Again, he whipped his head around to face me, and I expected more of what I received from Charlie out of him. Firm, insistent denial, but I guess Sydney was always more averse to conflict than Charlie, not to mention more respectful of a guy's right to make a decision. I could almost see this shock morph into acceptance on his face as he licked his lips and nodded.
Yes. I would do the same, I suppose. Does Charlie know?
Yeah.
She is open to the concept.
Resoundingly not.
Huh.
But she's gonna allow it to happen. Which I guess means I should go do it before she changes her mind. You know how she oscillates between fickle and stubborn as the mood strikes.
I must admit, I am reluctant myself to support this idea. It has long been a goal of hers and mine to keep you unblemished in this regard, and it is a shame that we should fail it now. Still, I suppose some would count suicide as on par with murder, especially considering how many attempts you took at it. No, I do not love it, but I suppose I have little ground to barter with, given how readily and recently you granted me the seizure of Howard Prophet. We will be even after this, correct?
I don't know if it works quite like that, Sid. Exchanging, like, revenge favors or whatever. I think you'd be hard-pressed to talk me out of it either way.
Besides, if you did not kill him, I would.
He scoffed, looked at me again, doubtfully.
Would you perhaps like me to join you?
Nah, bud. Again, I think this is me solo.
I assumed as much. I should warn you, my friend, if you think this venture will help you get over Maria, it will not.
I know.
There are no answers down this path. Take it from he who has traveled it well.
I know, Sid. I gotta make it all worth something. I gotta show myself she mattered to me, something big, so it's not just Maria dies and I'm back with Charlie 5 minutes later, you know?
Nonsense. Nobody would see it that way. That you were back with Charlie several hours before Maria died.
Sid, that doesn't make me feel better. I pulled the pebble out of a crack in my shoe and spiked it across the lobby, then snapped it back into my fingers, repeating the process a few times. I think that, if this is my one kill, you know, if this is it, at least it's somebody who deserves it.
Men such as us should not be concerning ourselves with what others deserve.
A good point, I guess.
Furthermore, I think nobody deserves to die. Or perhaps we all do. It should not be so hard to decide between those two possibilities. Maybe this vague dichotomy alone is the best argument against justice.
Wow. Very poetic, emo kid. He pressed on my shoulder to get up to his feet and began walking toward the elevator.
Sever his brainstem, by the way. Quick, merciful death.
That's more like it. I'll see you in a bit, buddy.
Good luck, brother.
I got up, turned to face the door, started pacing away from my brother toward my wicked feet when an odd thought occurred to me and I spun around on my heels. Wait, Sydney, I called back. He halted and I tugged the boner rock, Charlie's 49th bus gift, to me off of my neck. Give this to Charlie, okay? I love what it represents, but I feel like it's cursed. Whoever is wearing it has a tendency to die. Plus, I think it'll make her feel better for the next few minutes. I lofted it across the hall, slightly higher than I intended. Sydney had to jump to catch it, but once he did, he held it up to me and nodded before stepping into the elevator. Kind of weird. Usually a telekinetic was a pretty accurate passer, but I guess my brain was all over the place by then. It was hard to believe it was the same house. Standing in front of it, watching it just sit there, innocuous, innocent, same as every other house on the block. Only I knew its dirty little secret, that it was the setting for an atrocious, irreversible horror. And just the concept of it was enough to make my knees quake and my head dizzy. 48 hours ago, I slept in this house. I slept in it with my wife, eager and dedicated to refocusing our life together. Now, it was a coffin. Another gloomy reminder of the filth and mayhem surrounding me, left in my wake. Now it was empty, except sitting inside of it somewhere, struggling around on the ground or passed out, was the ignorant, crippled pawn who invited my wrath. Rick Fisher. My first and only kill. Nasty Cat. Oh, how could I have forgotten about the other victim of Fisher's malice? Probably still rigid on the floor of the kitchen, oozing bodily fluids with no dignity. She deserved better than that. I mean, yeah, I hated her. Our past relationship was contentious, rocky at best, but still, the way she set that all aside to warn me, Nasty went out a hero, desperately attempting to break communication barriers and raise the red flag with her own death, motivating me to realize Maria's peril. Nobody even bothered to bury her. It wasn't right. I pulled what was left of Nasty out from the house telekinetically, not yet willing to face Fisher head on, plus not wanting to explain I had to put off his execution for a cat funeral. The plot I selected for Nasty was a good one, shaded by a shrub in our front yard, one that I had an obscure memory of Maria being excited about getting her hands on. And after I dug my hole and rested her stiff body into it with my mind, I buried her with my hands. Somehow it made the whole thing more human. Less surreal, coming away from it with dirt under my fingernails. Once I was satisfied with the grave, I got off of my knees, dusted off my pants, then looked somberly at it. Sorry, Nasty, I muttered. You almost saved her. You're really close, but just a little too late. And, shit, wait, okay, I'm not taunting you in the middle of your eulogy. At least I wasn't trying to, nothing like that. I'm just, it was my fault anyway. Maria died because, hell, you know what? Forget I said any of this. Let's just start over, okay? I took a deep breath, sputtered it out through my lips, reset my mind. Just thanks, I guess. You're a hero in my book, Kitty. I hope Cat Heaven has lots of really nice, expensive sneakers for you to barf all over. I hope you already found Maria. I smiled and nodded, satisfied with my eventual words. It all added up to a much more peaceful and dignified ending for Nasty, which made me slightly pleased, even though I loathed her when she was alive. Everybody deserved a little bit of dignity and peace eventually. What the hell are you doing? I suddenly asked myself in my own head, or hey, better question, why was I doing it now of all times? This quest was time sensitive, after all. I had to make quick work of Fisher before Charlie got suspicious of what was taking me so long and started sixing me, then grouped down and denied me my catharsis. Or else before Fisher realized I was back to finish him off and somehow ended it before I got my opportunity. Damn, I should have snapped his spine higher up. If I paralyzed him from the neck down, that way he couldn't move at all until I got back. And I should have set a time limit with Charlie, told her when she was good to start worrying, granted myself a little wiggle room to loaf around and bury cats, and you're stalling. The little voice in my head informed me. It spoke the truth. I was putting off killing him, making up things to fret over, chores that had to be accomplished beforehand. Why? I already knew why, but the voice confirmed it for me. You can't kill him. Now that I was here alone out in the cold December night air looking at the house, I knew in my gut that it was all for nothing. Charlie was right. I wasn't a killer. I didn't have it in me to follow through, which probably explained why she bothered to let me get this far. She was too crafty, always knew me way better than I even knew myself, and thus accurately predicted I'd get here and chicken out. And now she had me chained to my murder-free vow in exchange for absolutely nothing. That's why she threw in that stipulation. She knew it would all come to fruition just like this. She was probably sitting back at HQ on the roof with Sydney, laughing at me right now, knowing damn well I would rather throw a burial ceremony for my least favorite cat than murder my least favorite person. Thinking about her laughing at me didn't make me angry or upset or embarrassed. Well, okay, maybe a little embarrassed, but honestly, it mostly made me feel ever so slightly relieved. At peace with it, just a little bit. Not nearly resolved completely, still wallowing in turmoil, but at least on the right track toward recovery. Maybe this was all necessary, getting right up to the point of impact, recognizing it wasn't what I wanted, then pulling up the nose of the plane, flying home to be with my best friends, to grieve the lost properly, like a person would, not an equalizer. It was instantly clear to me I didn't need this demonstration. Killing Fisher, not killing Fisher, it said nothing about me. It said nothing about Maria, how I felt about her, what she meant to me. It just meant I wasn't a killer, and I wasn't. Just go inside, look at him anyway. The little voice in my head said, but this message was more peculiar than the prior ones in a way that was challenging to pinpoint. Not only did it seem impatient, urgent, and frustrated in its tone, but the voice, my voice, felt a bit more outside of me. Artificial, maybe, almost like I heard the words articulated and didn't just drum them up mentally. It was odd, somewhat worrisome, but all in all, not disconcerting enough to sway me to ignore it or assume anything strange. Why not just see what Fisher was up to? He had to get transferred back to HQ anyway, right? I found him on the floor of my kitchen, awake but somewhat dazed. He had drug himself across the tile by grabbing legs of furniture, as evidenced by the way the table and chairs were all out of alignment. And currently, he was trying to hoist himself up the kitchen counter, sprawling out his hand, grasping and grunting for his phone, ostensibly to call for help. I knocked it away, telekinetically, mostly just to tease him as it trickled across the tips of his fingers, then bounced a foot in front of him, skidding under my shoe. He looked up at me like I was a ghost, or maybe like I was invading his home, not the reverse.
Yeah, you aren't dead?
Doesn't seem like I am, does it?
No, god damn it!
He shouted, slapping his hand against the floor.
Now I gotta go back in the dungeon, sit in there forever. I'm fucking paralyzed, and all I got to show for it is the bitch and the cat.
You're making it very difficult not to kill you. My blood was boiling over at how callously he clawed at such fresh wounds. That one cavalier comment almost undid the entire sparkling balanced epiphany I'd just reached outside.
You ain't gonna kill me.
He scoffed so confidently.
But that jerk who gave me the poison was a lying sack of shit. He promised me it would kill you both.
Oh, shit, that's right. I'd forgotten to mention to Charlie and Sydney and all the commotion that scumbag Peter Cranston was ultimately responsible for letting Fisher out and giving him the toxin. Or at least, well, that was the conclusion Maria and I had reached, based on Fisher's shady description. You're sure it was Peter?
Huh?
The guy who sprung you loose, you sure it was Peter Cranston?
I mean, obviously no.
Well, what the hell does that mean?
I've never met Peter Cranston. I don't have any idea what he looks like. You're the one who told me it was him in the first place.
You really don't know what he looks like? The Secretary of Anomalistic Affairs?
I stopped following politics sometime during my incarceration.
Still, before that, he was almost as famous as we were in tabloids and stuff. You really don't know him?
No? Well, what the fuck does it matter anyway? Ask him if you let me out.
I thought about paging Charlie or Sydney just to be safe, just to let them know about Cranston's potential involvement. It'd give them something to do beyond fretting while I wrapped things up. They could get the ball rolling on punishing Peter. But then maybe receiving a page from me would remind Charlie I existed and motivate her to start sixing me when she was actively trying not to. I didn't want to piss her off. Besides, it could probably wait until tomorrow. Enough had gone down for one night. Peter wasn't exactly going anywhere.
What the hell are we doing here, Teaque?
Fisher jerked me out of my latest irrelevant labyrinth of contemplation, which for some reason I kept falling into. I'm thinking about stuff. Shut your damn mouth.
You're stalling again.
Fisher replied.
You're hesitating because you're conflicted. You might actually want to kill me, even though you can't.
I told you to shut up.
What?
He recoiled, lifting his hands up, eyes shooting around the room.
What? What, you psycho or something? I didn't say anything.
Yes, you did. You told me I was stalling.
I did not. Aren't you stalling?
His voice rang out once more, as true of a sound as any I'd ever heard, and yet this time I was looking at him. I watched his face, dazed and terrified. His lips did not move, and yet he spoke. Who? How did you do that?
What? Teaque, you're freaking me the fuck out, man. How did I do what?
Perhaps I could ease some of the confusion associated with this situation by using a different voice,
It played in my head, clear as day. Howard Prophet down to the letter.
Is this better?
Howie. I grumbled, ferociously spinning around the room, throwing open every cabinet and drawer I could to draw him out as Fisher whimpered and cowered below me. I knew you had a trick or two still up your sleeve. I knew you were somehow behind this. Where are you?
Wow, you are a simple one, aren't you?
Peter Cranston spoke into my brain, and judging by my quick glance down to Rick Fisher, still only in my brain.
Hear a voice, picture a face. First instinct is that face must be hiding in your spoon drawer. Honestly, kid, the list of weird shit you've seen. Is somebody talking to you in your own head really the top?
Where are you?
Teaque, please.
Fisher, the real one, whined.
Just take me in. This shit is freaking me.
Shut the hell up, Fisher. I'm not talking to you.
But I'm the only one in
I said shut up. He whimpered, but listened.
Already told you where I am, didn't I? I'm in your ruddy little noggin.
That was you, outside? You told me to come in here and look at him?
Righto, mate.
Could you please use your own voice, whoever you are? This game is getting silly.
Nah, my voice is too peaceful, too tranquil. Simple creature like you, it'd flatline you, clear your senses. I need to keep you riled up, thinking about all the people this hinges on. All the people relying on you killing him, because I want you to realize how much you gotta do it, now that you know you can't do it.
Yes, I can. I just don't want to.
Nope, backwards. You really wanna, but you really can't. You don't even know how.
Sever the brainstem. I recalled, staring at Fisher, who had by this point just closed his eyes, started panting through his teeth, waiting patiently for whatever this psychotic episode was to play its course.
So why haven't you done it yet?
Sydney doesn't use contractions. And he, it, they, whatever pronoun was appropriate, laughed at me. Maybe he forgot to keep disguising its voice, or maybe it was precisely the moment he wanted to send a shiver down the length of my spine. The tritonal, perfectly in tune, song-like, yet horrifying chord of his laughter. Something from a dream, decades ago.
Do you remember me, Jaxon?
He asked in that same frozen, perfect harmony. In a bizarre way, what he said before was correct. Hearing him speak in his own voice took the ice water out of my veins, leveled me out, relaxed me. I think he only did it so that the change was more drastic. The jump into accelerated, aggressive fury would be more pronounced when he next spoke. In the voice of Maria Carraway.
Who are we going to kill, Jaxon?
Rick Fisher.
Huh? So do it.
Maria urged me to avenge her, more malevolent and corrupt, darker than she'd ever sounded in life. Maybe it was that detectable falseness that gave me pause. Maybe I was still hanging on to the lovely notion that I didn't have the capacity. Or maybe it was the fact that there was still one obvious voice this being had yet to use against me, and I was waiting to hear what she had to say. I...
Do it, Jaxon. Avenge me.
But I don't...
Do it now!
No, I can't. I finally admitted shamefully. I can't do it, you're right. I can't kill him.
I know, JT.
Charlie soothed me, and a stable numbness rolled through my body.
So don't kill him. Let me do it for you, all right? Just like always, you're not a killer. You don't know the first thing about it, but me, I know everything about it. I'm defined by it. I was raised by it. I can make him suffer the way he should suffer, the way the whole world needs to suffer, and you'll be no part of it. Just give it to me, Jaxon. Let me do it for you.
How? I tipped back my head, threw my hands to the side, relinquishing myself to this mysterious stranger's merciful alternative. Tell me how to... My tongue froze up. I tried to move it again without success, then tried to move my hand up to my mouth and failed. It was like I was still there, inside of my head. I could still see and feel and hear the world all around me, but I was only there for the ride. A passenger in my body. Somebody else was driving.
Just like that, my boy.
The words came out of my mouth, but the voice, unmistakably, this same harmonious symphony that laughed at me moments ago. Immediately, I knew it was a mistake. I tried to get back in control somehow, mentally flailing, scratching the walls to climb back up. I attempted to shout, to throw myself onto the ground, but none of it presented on the surface. My body, through no request of my own, stepped coolly toward Rick Fisher, hoisted him out of his crumpled, fearful, quivering blob, and held him above us, pacing around him.
Relax, Jaxon.
The being in my body reassured me aloud.
Sit down and watch. Let me take it from here.
It sounded like a crinkling, rippling series of snaps, like a steamroller over bubble wrap, followed by a laborious, soul-defying wail from Rick Fisher. It was hard to detect what the creature did telekinetically without a full pipeline into his conscious mind, like the one he apparently had developed into mine. But I could tell by the way specific parts of Fisher's body hummed, kinked, swayed in the air. Whoever was controlling me just broke every bone. He clenched Fisher's mouth closed, keeping him from making any more noise than stifled bellows through pursed lips. I wanted to stop watching, but I couldn't, because I didn't control my own eyes.
Surely the joke will be wasted on you.
He musically smirked, rubbing a finger across Fisher's chest.
But I find it hilarious how evolution betrayed mankind so completely. The way you feel things, it's so cruel, so unfathomably wicked. Pain was intended to protect you, you see. Give you a negative reinforcement of sorts, make you avoid danger, make you cowardly as you are, so that bigger, more robust creatures won't gobble you up. And yet now that you're the apex predator, you keep your pain, strive so earnestly to avoid it. We don't have it, pain like yours, back where I come from. And with a spare thought, I can instill in you as much suffering as would take a century to bring someone of my kind. Harrowing. And yet here, in this hellish realm, the same rules apply to me. So I suppose taunting you about it isn't quite appropriate.
Please, Teaque. Whoever the fuck you think you are, what do you want from me?
What do I want?
He paused, pressing a finger into our chest, glancing around confusedly.
Now, correct me if I'm mistaken, but I don't think we're here to deal with what it is that I want. Not yet, anyway. Right now, this body is just a rental for me. As for what Jaxon wants, hell, I couldn't guess. He doesn't even seem to know. Never really does, poor fool. No, I think this right here is about what you want, maggot. Did you already forget? Allow me to remind you of what it is that you want. You want our attention, Rick Fisher. You want to be remembered, to be respected and feared. Power, fame, legacy, the most cliche trifecta of motivators a man could paste together in his half-witted, dimly lit mind. And yet in your case, I'm rather impressed you managed to do that much. But let's break that list down, shall we? Unfortunately for you, power is out of the question. You're too blatantly weak. Fame, none to enjoy. You'll be dead before anyone knows you. Legacy now, that's interesting. Perhaps you will attain that, assuming there's enough of you left over to even identify your body. As for the rest of it, we're hardly scared of you, Fisher, and we respect you less than we fear you. But Jaxon and I, we will never forget you. Consider that wish granted.
He pulled Fisher down, glowering into his eyes as they shook frantically, along with his entire body sweating profusely.
And lucky you, you now have my full, undivided attention!
It was like getting shot out of a cannon. Suddenly, the whole world was a blur as we soared into the sky. Rick Fisher, me, and the monster in my head who was running the show. It all went so fast. Everything surrounding me was fuzzy and streaking by me as it struck Fisher repetitively, forcefully. So strong it knocked him yards away at breakneck speed. He'd fly after him. Half a second later, catch up to Fisher's flailing, shattered body, then strike it again. Kick him in the gut or elbow him in the chin, pushing him further away before dashing after him, repeating the process. We were soon in the Capitol, and he callously slammed Fisher's body into a building, crumbling the concrete, then whipped it out and slammed it into another, in a circle, like a rag doll, like a sack of meaningless, insignificant trash, and through it all, he laughed. The confusingly beautiful but simultaneously terrifying, harmonious chorus of unquenchable laughter. It was after he soared above Rick Fisher's body, planted both feet into it simultaneously, and drove him into the street below, that I snapped back into reality and started fighting for control again. Somehow, it was working this time, and I could tell by the way his neck snapped to the side, stuttering and skipping, like the power was oscillating between us.
So soon, Jackson.
He stammered, gingerly landing beside the crater Fisher was resting in.
Well, all right. I'll hand over the reins quietly. Before I do, here, there are a few plates you should probably keep spinning.
It was like he downloaded it into my mind. All of the considerations he was balancing, all of the Jaxon fields he manipulated and held onto, keeping Fisher alive. Holy shit. It was more devious than I thought, more nefarious and evil than it seemed. Fisher was alive, awake through all of it, utterly shattered into a million pieces, being held precisely in place to keep him conscious, breathing. Excruciating pain, the likes of which humanity was not even designed to experience, alive, through every punch. And then I was back in my body. I stumbled to the ground initially, not quite prepared to take over again, but crawled forward from there into the hole where Fisher rested, twitching and bruised, bleeding, more pulp than person. I did my best to hold everything together that my head demon had given me, spare Fisher all of the pain that I had it in my power to spare him of. The very sight of him turned my stomach completely on end. Fisher, holy shit, I panted when I reached him, shaking as I supported his frantically pulsating body onto my knees and pressed my hand over his chest. Holy fucking shit, what have I done? What? I'm so sorry, Fisher, oh my god, I'm so sorry. He stammered, gravelly and soft. Good Lord, how was he still alive?
Kill me.
At his request, I haphazardly dropped everything, all of the manipulations I was holding on to, hoping that trauma would be enough to just end him instantly, but he and I weren't so lucky. No. I urgently snapped it all back into place, and he settled down, gasping a non-rhythmic cadence. Jesus Christ, are you okay? Idiotic question of the year.
Please kill me. Please kill me. Please kill me. Please.
I'm so sorry, Fisher. I sobbed, clenching shut my eyes and hugging him, the evil man who murdered my wife, up to my body, cradling his head so I wouldn't have to see his face. I'm so sorry. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It was supposed to be quick and painless. I don't even know what happened. It was also... And I...
Sever the brainstem, Jaxon.
Sydney. A voice in my head that wasn't melodic and gut-wrenching. A voice in my head that I loved and trusted, not feared. I knew it wasn't really my friend. I knew it was my latest, most terrible enemy, but how could I ignore it? How could I deny this voice, monstrous as it proved to be when it was so right? I couldn't just let Fisher suffer through an agonizing death. It was my fault he was like this in the first place. I had to give him mercy. I'm so sorry. I muttered it again, then hesitated. I'm so sorry. One more time, but it changed nothing. I twisted his neck, backed by enough Teaque interaction to ensure it would snap. Sever the brainstem. Rick Fisher was dead. I killed him. I'd made tons of mistakes in my life. There were a lot of moments I wish I could take back, but if somehow somebody gave me one single shot to fix one mistake, undo one error, even considering the plethora of viable options I had, there was no doubt, not even the briefest wavering in my mind, how I would use that do-over. If given the opportunity to go back, I would not have killed Rick Fisher. I would have denied him that mercy, walked away, left him right there, let him suffer and bleed slowly and painfully, howling like a banshee in the middle of the street without a second thought. Killing Fisher was the biggest mistake of my life. The instant I did it, I fell back again. Into the audience behind my eyes, but not in my head, watching someone else lift both of my hands and twist them in front of me, laughing maniacally before clenching them into fists, and a ripple of immense power shot through my whole body. The sort I always knew I could generate, but felt irresponsible or just flat out afraid tampering with. I tried to grasp at it, to catch it and pull it back, as it suddenly shot outward like a telekinetic shockwave, obliterating every single thing it touched beyond repair. I watched in sheer horror as the Capitol itself crumbled into dust. People on the street, cars, buildings, and pavement annihilated in a flash as I, he, we, maybe, whatever the fuck, reared back and roared. That harmonious, beautiful, bone-chilling sort of roar. The swan song of an entire city. I scrapped and struggled and wrestled mentally to pull back into the driver's seat, but it was pointless. It felt different from before, farther away, more concrete and certain. He had it now. I was powerless to do anything but watch.
Finally,
he sang, scanning across the barren wasteland that was once the Capitol. And then we took to the sky.
Thank you for listening to the Beam Chronicles, a fiction podcast written and produced by me, MJ Dooney. And now you know why Book 3 is called Cataclysm. Old news first: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. 5 stars on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts. Email me, beamchronicles@gmail.com. Send me money, buymeacoffee.com/beamchroniv, or click support the show in the episode description. 9,570 downloads is our current total. I still think we could get to 10K by Halloween, but I'm confident we'll get there eventually nonetheless. This episode was sort of like the end of Act 1 of Book 3. Next week, I'm going to put out a shorter little interlude episode, sort of picking up the thread of the prologue. Then the second act will start for real in November. Sorry for the cliffhanger. I'm building suspense and all that. All music and sound effects were sourced from the Epidemic Sound Library. Special thanks to Sergio Duarte for creating the cover art for the show, and thanks again for listening.